Why didn't Jungkook accompany BTS's Taehyung at Dodger Stadium? Questions of jealousy and fan speculations. A huge surprise emerged when BTS's Taehyung V was seen attending the ceremonial first pitch at Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles, a moment that should have become a global highlight. However, what was even more shocking was not Taehyung's presence at the stadium, but rather Jungkook's absence, who is usually known to be very close to him. Questions immediately exploded among fans. Why was Jungkook not by Taehyung's side during that historic moment? Does this indicate a distance, or even jealousy that has not yet subsided? This phenomenon quickly sparked wide discussions across various social media platforms. ARMY worldwide speculated, some feeling disappointed because the moment they had been hoping for, both of them appearing together on the international stage, did not happen. Rumors then spread, suggesting that Jungkook might still be overshadowed by feelings of jealousy due to Taehyung's interactions with other members, or because of internal dynamics that have never been revealed to the public. But can this assumption truly be confirmed, or is it merely a fantasy born from fans' hopes and emotional attachments? Jungkook's absence created a contrasting perception. On one hand, the public judged that each BTS member's current individual schedule is indeed packed, making it impossible to always be together. But on the other hand, some fans who are used to seeing Taehyung and Jungkook's closeness, often referred to as Taekook, felt the loss of a symbol of togetherness they had long idolized. This empty moment was then filled with emotional interpretations. Did Jungkook intentionally keep his distance? Did he want to avoid double spotlight? Or are there indeed personal feelings difficult to explain behind the scenes? The atmosphere of disappointment was clearly seen in the flood of comments on Twitter and TikTok. Many ARMY expressed sadness and disappointment, imagining how iconic it would have been if Jungkook had stood next to Taehyung in such a large stadium. Their joint presence would have reaffirmed the strength of friendship while also showcasing BTS's unshakable synergy. But in reality, that moment never happened, and Jungkook's absence instead became the main story overshadowing the cheers for Taehyung. The most lingering question is, was Jungkook truly jealous? Some fans suspected that moments of interaction between Taehyung and other members recently, including his closeness with Jimin and Taehyung's frequent public appearances, might have triggered discomfort in Jungkook. This suspicion may sound dramatic, but within the fandom ecosystem, such narratives quickly gain attention. Here lies the debate. Are we witnessing reality, or merely building stories from an empty space filled with uncertainty? Media critics remind us that fandoms often construct emotional narratives around their idols' relationships. Someone's absence from an event does not always mean there is conflict or negative feelings. It could be that Jungkook simply had another personal schedule, or professional reasons that were not made public. However, public perception remains stronger than fact, and this is what keeps the issue a hot topic. For some ARMY, speculations about Taekook are not merely entertainment, but a space to channel emotional attachment to BTS. They capture every detail, from small gestures to presence or absence, then interpret them with deeper meaning. But at this point, it is important to remember that interpretation does not always align with truth. Questions must therefore be asked more reflectively. Is Jungkook truly still jealous? Or are we the ones creating a narrative of jealousy to fulfill collective imagination? Does fans' disappointment at Jungkook's absence reflect excessive attachment to BTS members' personal dynamics? Or is it merely a form of deep love that always wants to see them together? This incident mirrors how global fandom builds large narratives from one fragment of reality that may not be complete. Jungkook's absence at Dodger Stadium may be nothing more than a rational, ordinary decision, but from the fans' perspective, it grew into an emotional drama full of speculation. Thus, what is more interesting to examine is not only Jungkook's position, but also how we, as the audience, read and interpret his absence. In the end, this article does not offer absolute answers, but rather opens a space for reflection. Was it true that Jungkook deliberately did not accompany Taehyung because of jealousy? Or is this just a hoax created from fans' thirst for dramatic stories? Is this news an authentic fact, or merely a sensation amplified by social media? And more importantly, are we able to restrain ourselves from being carried away by unverified speculations? The truth may only be known by Jungkook and Taehyung themselves. However, What we can do is maintain a critical, skeptical, and reflective attitude. Do not let emotions blur logic. Do not let sensation drown out common sense. Because in today's information era, every small detail can be twisted into a big issue, and we as the audience have a responsibility to distinguish between fact and fantasy. Taehyung BTS's presence at Dodger Stadium to perform the first pitch sparked an extraordinary wave of public reaction. But what was more striking was Jungkook's absence, who has long been known to be very close to Taehyung. Questions then arose. Why did Jungkook not attend to accompany Taehyung in this big moment? Is there truly a personal reason behind it? Or is the public simply being driven into speculations full of emotional narratives? This phenomenon is a clear example of how a small detail, whether the presence or absence of a public figure, can spark such diverse interpretations. Some fans linked it to jealousy issues, especially because rumors have long circulated regarding the dynamics of Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship, particularly among those supporting the Taekook narrative. But is it true that Jungkook still harbors jealousy, thus choosing not to appear? Or is this merely speculation created to stir commotion? We need to critically examine these questions. Does Jungkook's absence truly hold a particular meaning? Or is it merely a coincidence later exaggerated by the public? Could it be that social media, with all its algorithms, deliberately amplifies this issue to attract more attention? If so, then who actually benefits from this narrative of jealousy and absence? Speculations about BTS members' personal relationships are nothing new. History shows that global fandoms often create emotional narratives, sometimes even provocative, to strengthen their bonds with idols. But is it appropriate if real events like Taehyung's Dodger Stadium appearance are narrowed down to personal issues between him and Jungkook? Or is this a form of diversion from the actual achievement that was supposed to be highlighted? Furthermore, let us ask a fundamental question. Could it be that all this coverage is part of a media strategy? What if Jungkook's absence was indeed planned as an attempt to create a counter-narrative that could extend the news cycle? Is this merely a coincidence, or a stage designed to ensure that every BTS member's step always becomes a global conversation? In facing this situation, we must remain skeptical. Information circulating on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitter can indeed shape public opinion quickly, but can that information truly be accounted for? Are we merely passive consumers who accept all narratives without questioning them? Or are we capable of standing as critical audiences, questioning the motives, sources, and contexts of every fragment of information we consume? Every rumor about sad Taekook or jealous Jungkook should be a material for reflection, not just entertainment consumption. Is it true that personal feelings of someone can be accessed so easily by the public simply because he is a celebrity? Is it fair if we claim the truth of a narrative that is not necessarily proven? Or does this instead reflect the dark side of fandom culture that often prefers to consume drama over facts? More importantly, do we truly understand the consequences of spreading unverified news? If this issue turns out to be a hoax, who will be harmed? Taehyung, Jungkook, or the fans themselves, trapped in a cycle of misleading information? Do we realize that every time we share unverified information, we reinforce a culture of sensationalism that ultimately harms the wider public? The biggest criticism in this phenomenon is not about the speculation of Taehyung and Jungkook's personal relationship, but about how the public consumes and believes information. Are we still able to distinguish between fact and interpretation? Can we recognize that most of the content circulating may prioritize clicks, views, and sensation over truth? Therefore, let us use this moment as a call to think more critically. When reading articles, watching videos, or hearing viral news, let us ask ourselves, is this truly a fact? Does this reflect reality, or merely media fabrication? Am I simply being manipulated by sensational headlines and certain framings? Or is there information deliberately hidden from me? Finally, it is important for us to realize that truth is often not as simple as the narrative appearing on our phone screens. Jungkook may have had simple personal reasons for not attending, or perhaps there was indeed a management decision behind the scenes. But do we need to immediately connect it to jealousy or the sad Taekook issue? Or should we instead wait for official clarification before drawing conclusions? The information we present comes from various media sources, including TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and other platforms.